So today is July 10th, and we have invited back Mr. Robin Wong to do the Asian American interview for the special COVID collection. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Ashley Sang, and I wanted to start off by asking, in what ways has the coronavirus epidemic impacted your life and Blood Bros Barbecue?
For our business, for Blood Brothers, we've taken a little bit of a hit, um, but that's we're not cooking as much because we don't anticipate as much traffic. But we've also uh, changed about half of our menu um, because almost, I mean, even now with the patio being open and the dining room being open at 50%, people aren't really eating. You would think like people are anxious to sit down and eat. Um, Really, almost everyone's still taking it to go. So our menu has changed to make everything like transportable. And that takes a lot more work than just throwing something on a plate and sending it out. I mean, it costs more for packaging. It takes more time to package everything. Um, but we've been pretty successful at the transition or the pivot, as most people will say. So we're doing a lot better than some of our friends in the restaurant industry. Um, so we're making not quite as much money as we were before, but um, for that it takes twice as much work. So we're just all exhausted.
Oh, I see. Everything takes like extra work, extra time, and extra money to kind of
Yeah,
okay.
and then their beef pricing went up, so we're cooking less beef, and we also had to raise the price up on beef. Um, so we had to come up with other stuff. I'm sorry. It's just financially we're doing okay, but it's so much stress and it not knowing what's going to happen the next week. With the cases spiking and local government, state government, national government being so wishy-washy and flaky. Um, we're afraid that next week it'll go straight, to go only again, or even a complete shutdown. And that's a lot of stress because you just don't. The not knowing is what's really hard to deal with and hard to plan for.
So you feel like this situation is like very unpredictable, like in terms of like food pricing and like whether it's going to be open or not.
Yeah, yeah.
Are there any other ingredients besides beef that also fluctuate in prices?
Man, everything. And then not only that, like your vendors that are supplying like produce, they're not half the restaurants are closed, so they're not ordering as much produce. So some of the times the produce that you're getting is already going bad, so you have to send it back. And this whole thing has disrupted so many things that you don't really think about, just because it really affects everything. So you just, we're just trying to roll with it. Everybody's just trying to do what they can, and it's tough. It's really tough.
So then, what are some of the most surprising things that you think your restaurant has been impacted, like in terms of the pandemic?
Um, we've had to really communicate through social media everything that we're doing all the time. Um, Before it was kind of like, um, this is what we're doing on these days of the week, and we just it was kind of set, like. But now we feel like we have to put out something daily, um, just to encourage people to come out. So like I said, everything's just so much more work. Just doing everything that we can to communicate to our customers what's going on, what we're offering. We're doing a bunch of new stuff, so we constantly have to put that out there. Yeah, so I mean that's all it is. I mean, I noticed some of the other restaurants that aren't doing so well, and it's because they're not doing everything they can, and you know, it's sad because I see some of these restaurants, they're closing or they have, you know, they're shutting down. You know, they can't afford to stay open. And I look at what they're doing and I'm like, you know, you could be doing more to stay open, you know, and it's hard for some of these people that have been doing things a certain way for so long, um, to change or to adjust
Mhm.
because they just don't understand how to. And you know, some of these old places, they have a reputation that they don't really know how to use social media to their best advantage. And maybe a PR firm could help them with that, but then they don't have the money to pay a PR firm at this time. So it's really tough. Um, it's really tough for everyone, you know.
Yeah, it's just really complicated. Do you feel like you've done like a lot more of your work and like social, even social experiences done over tools like FaceTime and maybe like Zoom now?
Yeah, the Zoom thing's funny. Like I said, I don't use it, and I don't use FaceTime. This is only the third interview I've ever done this way. Um, yeah, because it's kind of, I don't know. It's uncomfortable for me, but I know that this is like the way things are going. Um, but yeah, it is kind of weird to be talking through your computer, I guess. And I don't even use my phone that way. But but yeah, I mean, this is going to be the new norm for a long time, and I probably should get used to it. But you know, I focus on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Mm,
I don't do a lot of the other ones.
okay. And do you feel like that's kind of increased because of the pandemic, not only just for work, but like in terms of your like your social life as well?
Yeah, yeah. I'm constantly online, um, with our own stuff, but not only that, looking at like the is it the Independent Restaurant Coalition, finding out because I'm new to this. We've only been open a year and a half, and I'm new to the restaurant industry. I've been in the bar industry a long time, but I've been following other chefs and trying to learn as much as I can how to stay relevant and you know, keep making money, and also maybe to help coach other people that are having a hard time. So there's a couple people that I'm constantly asking questions to, and you know, I'm just trying to learn everything I can, and what's going on in the government as far as, you know, they're still pushing for help. We got the PPP. They did do some other things, but they're trying to do a lot more. Um, like I said, we're lucky enough that we're okay. Um, but I have friends that are dying. Like their businesses are just slowly dying. And if I know something that they don't know, and I can say like, "Hey, have you checked this out?" Or "Hey, did you know that we can do this now?" Um, then you know, I try to help them. Um, so like for instance, when there was a shutdown, obviously we couldn't um, we could only sell packaged beer and liquor. So you had to sell like a kit. Like if you were going to sell a margarita, you couldn't make a margarita and put it in a bottle and sell it. You had to actually sell it piece by piece, like the mixer and a bottle of tequila, like a small bottle of tequila. And now they've changed it over the last, I think, 2 weeks. They've changed it that where we now actually can pre-mix a drink and package it and sell it. And some people don't know that because they didn't really announce it. Um, so like we have draft beer. We couldn't sell a draft beer to someone. Now we can. Um, so all those little things help with, you know, bringing in revenue, obviously. And that's, it's good that the state is allowing us to do that.
So, do you feel like that's gonna maybe like continue in the future? Like, do you feel like the future of the Houston community would return back to normal, or do you think those changes would like continue to stay in place?
The governor has said that he likes he wants to allow the alcohol to go thing to continue. Um, it's a scary thought to me because there are so many drunk drivers
Oh,
and accidents in Texas. So that was the whole reason why they didn't do it before. Now they're saying like you can buy it, but you need to keep it like in the back seat or in your trunk. So, but you know, this is Texas, and I just kind of it's walking a very dangerous line, I think.
mhm.
But I'm all for it until they stop it, you know, because that's good for us, you know.
Business-wise, yeah. Um, so can you also share some of your most memorable experiences from the pandemic?
Probably, probably my most memorable thing, and it's not a positive thing. It's actually really sad. Is that so in our shopping center, we're about 4 doors down or 4 spaces down from Bernie's Burger Bus, and Justin Turner, the owner of Bernie's, has been a friend for a long, long time, and he was actually, I don't want to say a big reason, but it was a reason for us to come and share the same shopping center with him. Um, him kind of being a new concept, especially in like an older neighborhood like the city of Bel Air.
Mhm.
Um, it was good to kind of have some fresh blood, you know, new companies, new concepts. And so we thought, oh, this would be great because Bel Air's kind of changing, it's kind of modernizing. And here you got Bernie's, and they've been doing very well. And then, you know, we're just a few doors down. So it's like new kids on the block. And he just recently had to shut down about a month ago um, because just different reasons. But
Mhm.
yeah, that was hard, you know, hard to see.
Yeah, was it like mostly pandemic related, just like all the
Yeah.
places from? Okay.
So he had the one next to us was his original brick and mortar, and then he opened 3 more over the last 4 years. And when this happened, he shut all of them down and was just working out of the one next to us. And I think it um, just having all that obligation to those other 3, he wasn't able to cover all of his expenses. Um, and so he just decided to just shut down for good, um, you know. But that's what's going on, I guess, right now.
Mhm. Then, so kind of how have you engaged in responses to the outbreak, whether at home or at work, besides like the social media and like patio opening?
Yeah, I mean, so we've been lucky throughout this whole process. No one's gotten sick. We've stayed open the whole time. But you know, the restaurant industry is pretty stressful, and like everybody here, we like to go out and hang out with our friends and have a drink. And since this whole thing started, none of us have really done that because it's just, you know, there's too much to lose. I mean, especially like one of my employees takes care of her mother, whose health is a little fragile. I have 3 kids at home, so I'm not trying to get them sick. And so we all come to work and go home, and that, and with all the stress and, you know, anxiety and just exhaustion, you need those times to just go out and kind of release. And that's been really frustrating not being able to do that.
So then, now that you have like the stay-at-home order, are there any other activities that you've been doing more than before?
I spend a lot more time with my kids, which is good, you know, because most of the time, um, you know, during the school year, by the time I get home, they're getting ready for bed.
Mhm.
But since they pretty much have no bedtime now, um, I get to spend a lot more time with them, and that's something that's been really good. Um, but even them, they're getting anxious. You know, like they miss their friends. They need a social outlet. Um, so that's been kind of tough on them as well.
So it's like balancing like social things and like safety.
Yeah, my my daughter, she chats with her friends all the time on her phone, so she's okay. My son, he has some friends that he'll Zoom with because they used it for school, so he's familiar with it, and of course he does things like play Fortnite. So he still gets to talk to his friends, so that helps.
For sure. Has the outbreak of the pandemic kind of changed your perspective about the future and like the future of Houston as well?
That's the thing that some friends and I talk about all the time, and we know things are going to change. Restaurants are going to change. Everything is going to change. The way we live our life is going to change, but we just don't know how.
Mm.
Um, so that's the thing, is just trying to stay ahead.
What do you think this pandemic has revealed about the structural inequalities of our society?
That's a tough one. Um, I don't know if it's the timing of it all is crazy, right? Like George Floyd could have happened at any time, but it happened during this time, and especially where everybody has access to recording devices. Um, but I think just the fact that people aren't at work, so they have they have all day to watch the news and to watch social media, and it's almost like information overload, and there's so much skewing and distortion of the facts, um, which just it makes you don't know what to believe sometimes, and I'm a minority, you're a minority. All these things are things that I've been aware of since I was a child. It's not new to me. The good thing is that I guess it is people are paying attention now, and they want to be better. I mean, some of them, obviously, but um, you know, I I tell my wife, I mean, like every little bit helps, you know.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously, some people, it's going to take them from being um, prejudiced to even more prejudiced because it's so out there now. But it's kind of like separating, and that's the bad thing, is that we talk about all the time, is the politicians now are really trying to divide the people, but you really see it now. There are people that were kind of borderline, and now they understand. Um, they didn't, they saw it as really a black and white thing, and not as a 400-year thing. They're like, oh, well, I was never a slave owner. Um,
Mhm.
so how does that affect me? And then they don't understand that systemic racism is what we're really talking about. We're not just talking about black and white. Um, and systemic racism applies to all people of color, not just black people. You know, so yeah, the awareness is great, but yeah, I think it's definitely putting a divide in people. But that's kind of, I guess, that kind of needs to happen.
Yeah. So then, like, how do you think we could come out of this pandemic and this like really difficult social situation stronger as a community, Asian American community or just Houston community?
I think we're blessed in Houston. You look at the troubles or the what's going on in other cities where there isn't as much diversity, and it's a lot more hostile. There's a lot more problems. In Houston, this is a diverse city, and people have always embraced that and loved that about Houston. So it's really hard for me um, a native Houstonian, someone that was born here, um, to understand what it's like to live like in Cleveland or somewhere in the Midwest where you don't have that diversity um, to to have grown up like learning about other cultures, you know. And we're really lucky here in Houston. I think what you'll see in Houston, um, hopefully, and I always say this, is just try to just be a good example in Houston so that other cities can see, hey, it works, you know. And that's really all I think about. I don't know how much things are going to change in Houston because I think we got it pretty good here. Like we had the main rally for George Floyd in his home city, and no violence, not one single issue. And who can say that? You know, this is probably the place where it was more likely to have violence because he was a native Houstonian. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's a great example of what can be achieved. You know, a city of this size, and the people love each other. You know.
So then, what have you learned about yourself during this pandemic?
That as much as I think that I do, I can do more. You know, and that's like not just do more for my company, but like I want to do more for the community, for especially for my friends in the restaurant industry. And I'm just trying to find the time and to try to reach out to people. I'm going to probably start reaching out to people to find out, to get some ideas, to brainstorm, um, how we can do more to help each other. Because unless we all get together, a lot of them are going to go under. And I don't think we can look to national government. I don't even know how much we can look to state government. We can only look to each other, which is hard, because we're all hurting. So, um, yeah, that's really it. Just try to learn and see what's working in other cities, with other chefs and other restaurants, and try to take notes. Because there are some people doing some really really good things, and there are some companies that are donating a lot. Um, so Chef Ed Lee has been getting donations from a lot of company, and he's doing a bunch of really cool stuff. And I want to talk to him and find out how we can do some stuff here in Houston. He did sponsor a huge event here and fed thousands of people through Riel Restaurant, with donations through his company and through Maker's Mark. Gave him a bunch of money. Some other people donated. But yeah, I mean, that was months ago, and this is still going on. Like everybody still needs help. So we just got to figure out who to contact and who's got money, you know?
For sure. I heard that you guys did like maybe like a mukbang to help raise money.
That was my brother. So my brother's been doing a lot of stuff with the Chinatown, scene. I don't have time for that. I'm here at the restaurant all the time, or I'm with my family. But he has more time to commit to that, and him, along with about 3 or 4 of our friends, have really gotten together to support Chinatown. And this is even before the quarantine, because Chinatown was a ghost town, once the rumors spread, and I guess the fear started getting into people. So we have a lot of friends in the restaurant industry in Chinatown, and so they got together and just really tried to tell people, like, things are safe, come out, get some food. And I think it's helped, but Chinatown especially is still hurting really bad.
So then, like, how do you feel about hearing like some of the assumptions about the Asian community, like being more prone to the virus and things like that?
That's just propaganda, and uh, people that already have like a preset, way of thinking are going to think whatever they think, no matter what you try to say to them or what science says. Everybody thinks there's a conspiracy but then, you know, when you have people in power pointing fingers at Asians and uh, it's bad because I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I know what I want to say, you know, but I don't want to be recorded,
Yeah.
you know, like that. But you know, there's a lot of propaganda out there, not just from the government, but from I guess other societies or within the United States that want to skew things, disrupt society. Um, and you know, I think what maybe 75% of people blow it off like it's ignorance, but there's that 25% that are very vocal and that want to continue to spew hate. Um, and you just I don't know if there's anything you can do about that. You know?
And have you or anyone you know like ever experienced that kind of like an attack?
No, not at all. Um, I don't know anyone that's had any, you know, a victim of racial violence. Now, I do know some people that there some verbal abuse, but I it's probably going on more now. But that always that's always been going on. But I think what's worse now is that because of the economy and because of the way things are, crime is really bad. So you see, you know, people in Chinatown or just other businesses getting broken into, or people getting robbed in the parking lots, and that's just because of what's going on right now. People are desperate. I think after this, there's going to be so many people on the streets, and I don't know what they're going to do about that. Um, because people can't pay their rents, they're getting evicted. I mean, this, like I said earlier, like this situation affects everything. There's just no way to know what it's going to be like 5 months from now.
For sure. So then, what do you think international politics will look like after the end of this epidemic? Do you think it'll be more peaceful or tense? And to what extent?
I guess that probably just depends on the election.
Oh,
Um, you know, I want to be optimistic, but I think that is still like really completely up in the air as well.
for sure. Have you gotten into any like serious or more fun debates during the pandemic, and were they related to the virus?
I, I, I don't like to get into politics, and I don't like conflict. So, um, I said I always just try to look at solutions and try to find solutions. I don't try to argue my point or try to make a point. That's not me.
Mm. Um, what, who, or where do you miss the most?
I have about 3 or 4 guys that I like to hang out with, and have a drink, and like I don't get to see them. It's not really a particular place. It's just the company. I miss the company, you know. And every once in a while, we'll get together here at the restaurant and have a couple of drinks. But and that it really helps.
Mhm.
Um, I miss being able to take my family out to eat, because that was a big thing for us. It's just because we don't get to do it very often. Is to go out and have a nice dinner, but like now we're ordering to go and eating at home, which is good. But you know, you kind of miss going out and sitting in a restaurant and having someone serve you and just being able to relax. Um,
In
so
like a
those,
different setting?
yeah, in a different setting and people watching and all the good stuff, you know, that, but you know, uh, we'll get back to that soon, hopefully.
Would you consider COVID-19 a setback for the progress made throughout the years in the perspectives of Asian Americans?
No, no, I don't think so. I don't think so.
If there are positive lessons learned out of this pandemic, what are the most important ones?
Uh, Man, I don't know if there's anything. I mean, that's a tough one. I don't know. I guess the a positive of this is that for people that that are scared of change or you know or have a lot of anxiety for change, that they can change, that they can adapt, and things will be okay. Because you know a lot of people do not like change, like they are set in their ways, and um, but I think through this, you know, that's this thing forces everybody to think differently and forces everybody to act differently, and I think that um, if you can get by throughout this, then I think that you and you didn't think you had the strength before. I think you probably found out that you can do it. You found the strength somewhere to get through this.
So then from like the changes that you made in the pandemic, do you feel like that kind of impacted your future direction of the business in any way?
Yes, because we've had to introduce a lot of new menu items that are really working out well, um, and it also forced us the way we utilize our kitchen. Like we weren't really putting out much stuff from the kitchen. In the barbecue restaurant, everything comes out of the smoke room. Really, now probably 50% of our food comes out of the kitchen. So um, we've had to learn how to be a lot more efficient in the kitchen and rely more on our employees to kind of step up and learn how to do some new things and still, you know, and put out quality food. So yeah, so moving forward, we'll be we won't stop that. You know, we'll keep doing that. So once things get back to normal, that's a whole nother aspect of the business that we weren't really doing before.
Oh, so like the new menu items have created this like increase in work in the kitchen then kind of.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because like we were just really making like sandwiches and stuff back there. Like, well, just a few sandwiches. Now we're making sandwiches, tacos, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, so during service, most of the time we would just be prepping for the next day, but now we're actually cooking nonstop. So yeah,
That's really cool.
you know, we had to. Yeah.
So like that's pretty much all for my questions. Is there anything else you would like to share?
No, just that I'm anxious for this to be over. Like I said, it's if there was like an end point, then um, I think everybody would just feel better, you know, like because it's not that we can't do this. It's just the not knowing, the uncertainty is it's just like a big weight. And you know, we're not seeing anything get better. You know, we look at the numbers every day and they say it's getting worse, it's getting worse, it's getting worse. Um, but yeah, if the uncertainty was to go away,
Mhm.
I don't, you know, the working hard and all that, I can deal with that. That's just part of the job, you know. But like, and it's not just for us; it's for everybody. For everybody's like conscious and peace of mind. It's like the not knowing with this, the not knowing with the election coming up. It's just like a lot of, it's a burden for everybody to carry. So you know, the election that's coming up soon, and then hopefully this will be close to ending. And you know, we don't even look at like places like New York and LA where or San Francisco where I think that they're still pretty much shut down. Like we're kind of functioning, you know, I guess 50% functioning here. So we don't see it on a level that some of these other places are seeing it. And that's scary too.
Are you kind of nervous for like how your kids are gonna go back to school then during this time?
Um, my wife is super worried. But I keep telling her it's only July. They still have a month to try to figure things out. And I don't think we're going to send them back to school. Just it's too dangerous for them to bring something home to us, and then I bring it back to my business, and then I am, you know, I can't do that. Um, and as of now, there's no good options for school. But like I said, I think they still have a month, and I'm going to give them the benefit of trying to find out some better solutions. Um, because I think they'll be working on it until the last day. You know, they're talking about, I guess, doing half half at home and on campus, and even that's scary. So, but hopefully, like I said, I think they've still got a month to figure it out, and I hope they come up with some decent solutions.
Also, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't do it sooner. It's just been really nuts.
Yeah, no problems, no problems.
I gotta send you the you guys the pictures too.
Yes, please.
The mask picture. It's just you know, the whole picture thing and video thing is awkward for me. So, but I'll send it.
I really appreciate it, and I know you just downloaded Zoom for this too.
Yeah.
Maybe you can use it some more.
I'm gonna keep it because I'm sure I'll need to use it again.
For sure.